Good morning, everyone. This is Dan Spatz on behalf of the Dalles Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Community Affairs. Today is Thursday, July 30th. I can't believe the month of July has gone by that quickly. It's amazing. Our guest this morning is Rob Hall with the Energy Trust of Oregon, nonprofit doing a lot of really cool stuff in the energy efficiency fields of our state, and we look forward to hearing details about that. Before we're going to turn this over to our other organizations represented this morning and see what's going on around the community. So I will start with my upper right-hand corner, Corliss Marsh.
Good morning, everyone. Corliss Marsh here. I'm with Habitat for Humanity and the library and the senior center and the College Foundation. And I have no new updates for those organizations, but next Tuesday morning, Chamber is having their morning buzz and it'll be at the next door, 7:30 on Tuesday morning.
Thank you, Corliss. And thank you for everything you're doing with those different groups. I don't know how you find time for that. Let's turn it over to Scott and then Jacob. Scott, go ahead.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Scott McKay, volunteer for the dementia-friendly Wasco County Partnership. And I always think of the updates after the meeting, but one thing since Mike is not here, just to remind people that the Kiwanis steak feed is coming up the first Thursday after Labor Day. So buy your tickets, $25 a piece. And the Rotary is having a raffle at the car show that's coming up. I think it's the 6th, 7th, 8th weekend in August, that first weekend in August. So I think that's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. And everyone, please feel free to put details in the chat box as well. Good information. Jake, take it away, and then we'll go to Heather.
Good morning, everyone. Jacob Anderson, Economic Development Officer here with the City of the Dalles. Big update we have is our urban renewal meeting that is usually scheduled for the third Tuesday of the month is getting changed to the second Tuesday of the month. So it will be August 11th at 5:30 here at City Hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jake. Good to know. Heather, and then to Tanya. Heather Land.
Sorry, my mouse wasn't working. Good morning, Heather Land, Communications Specialist at Waskow Electric Cooperative, and we do not have any updates this week. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Heather. And Tanya.
Good morning, Tanya with Northwest Natural Gas. And I guess the biggest thing for us is just to let you guys know, in September, we have our Get Ready Emergency Preparedness event. Our committee's been planning that. It's September 19th. I will put some things in the chat, but it's at the fire station. It helps people prepare. We have all sorts of agencies, and as we can see with the smoke in the air, it's never too soon, and it's really never too late to start planning. So I will add some stuff into that, and excited to see ETO. They are one of the agencies, of course, that our customers pay to fund. So I'm interested to see what we hear today.
Thank you, Tanya. And I'll wrap with my own update on One Community Health from the board there. Everyone, if you don't have the launch of the One Community Health Foundation on your calendars, you would be most welcome. This is August 14th, Friday at 6 p.m. And I will double check that and put it in the chat. And that's going to be at the White Salmon Clinic, which is on Highway 14, immediately east of the Hood River Bridge. Also a public event for everyone. Community celebration of One Community Health's 40th anniversary is going to be the following day, Saturday, the 15th of August, at the Hood River Clinic off of Pacific Avenue on the Heights. So serving the entire Columbia Gorge, including the clinic in the Dalles. With that, let's turn it over to Rob Hall. Rob, hit that button when you're ready at screen share and take it away.
Certainly. Oh, the screen share button.
Down at the bottom.
Yeah, that's the one I was not able to find earlier.
No, down at the bottom it'll say screen share. Right down at the not the one that says stop share, but right down at the bottom of the screen with the arrow.
There
There's
we
an
go.
icon down there.
That's why. Okay, here we go.
And it's coming in. Give it just a second here. I'll let you know. Okay.
All right.
You are sharing screen, sir.
It's always the most nerve-wracking part of any
I
presentation.
know. I know.
Is it
I've
going
always
to
got my fingers crossed whenever I start these meetings every single week. Is it going to work?
how much of my inbox is everybody going to see? Uh,
No, you're covered. You're covered. The screen is
uh,
yeah. Go ahead.
Good to go. Okay. And I'm also very glad to hear Heather and Tanya, both also colleagues in the energy industry, on the call. And I do want to say, if at any point during my presentation there is a question, just let Dan know. I don't mind questions along the way. So feel free to do so. As Dan said, my name is Rob Hall. I'm a small business energy advisor with the Energy Trust of Oregon. And I was actually out in the Dalles maybe about 2 months ago, just kind of walking the downtown business strip, handing out information, getting people familiar with Energy Trust. So if Energy Trust sounds familiar to you when it wasn't before, you recognize my face, that might be why. So, who is Energy Trust? We are an independent nonprofit. We're not associated with government. We're not a private corporation. Uh, in my elevator pitch, I describe to people that we're a nonprofit that essentially manages the rebate programs, the energy efficiency rebate programs for the utilities in that particular town that I happen to be in. In this case, for you guys, it would be Northwest Natural. And throughout this presentation, everything that I talk about in terms of equipment and our rebates will be specifically for natural gas using equipment and natural gas rebates. In the Dalles, we do not offer anything for electricity. That would be Wasco. And I encourage, if Heather, if you want to interject at any point saying that you've got a particular rebate for something, feel free to do so. We definitely want to hear, or we're definitely here to help the small business customers in any way we can. So I don't mind being or having you mention that as well. And then I think, as Tanya mentioned, the money for Energy Trust of Oregon basically comes from the customers of our participating utilities, and those are up here in the right-hand corner: Portland General Electric, Pacific Power, Northwest Natural Gas, Cascade Natural Gas, and Avista. And every ratepayer, everybody who pays a bill for one of those companies, there's a little bit on that bill that goes into the larger fund that then we redistribute in the form of energy efficiency rebates. The idea being that if we can be more efficient as a region, we don't have to build as many new power generation plants, right? And those can be very, very expensive. They're very long term, and those costs would come back into our rates anyways. And it's often been proven that or I should say, it's often been shown that reducing our energy use is a more cost-effective way than building new power plants in terms of keeping everybody's rates down. We do have renewable power options like solar power, but again, that would only be for customers where we serve electric customers of Pacific Power or PGE. And we do operate also in Southwest Washington, where Northwest Natural serves. So generally, our purpose is we want to help customers and communities reduce their costs, in this case, energy costs, and realize additional benefits by saving energy and using renewable resources. This is just a partial list of all to show you the different types of businesses we have assisted. We can assist with rebates, some very large ones over here on the left, and then my column is there, the mustard colored one, the small businesses, food service businesses, restaurants, cafeterias, always very good opportunities because they per square foot, tend to be some of the highest energy users in the small business category. And then we've got some other categories here, SEM, which is for much larger customers. And we also do have certain influence in the area on different categories of work. This, again, is just a partial list of the different types of or categories of equipment we've got rebates for, and there's some sectors in here as well. From the small business perspective, there's really not a small business we can't at least talk to about how we might be able to help them. Certainly, when we're just talking about natural gas, it kind of limits how we can help a little bit. There's a lot that's just electric air conditioning, for example. Lighting is another one, but there's a lot of gas use equipment like water heaters and food service equipment and gas furnaces, that type of thing. So this is a diagram that Energy Trust has put together just to show all the different places that energy is used and to give a rough idea of that type of equipment that uses the most energy. And sometimes it's surprising. In this case, maybe not so surprising that cooking, of course, it depends on the type of restaurant, but cooking uses a lot of the overall energy. It looks like it uses most of the overall energy, and refrigeration is another one. Goes to keep all that food cold all the time. You have to have a ready source of energy doing that, and then of course heating and cooling. Yeah, this is an example, and I did pare this down to examples for gas heating. So, for example, if you're a restaurant and you're needing to replace a fryer, an oven, or a griddle, there are energy efficient options out there in the marketplace. And the whole point to Energy Trust, which I probably haven't been that explicit about right now, is to encourage energy efficiency, to move customers in the direction of more energy efficient options when they're out there selecting equipment. Because there's usually going to be a spectrum from something that just meets building code, that standard efficiency, if you will, all the way up to more energy efficient. The Energy Star brand will probably come to mind. When it comes to kitchen equipment, for example, Energy Star certification is one of the requirements for the equipment to be eligible for the rebate. Lodging is another small business sector out in that area that there are some gas using equipment that we can help out with. Commercial laundry, water heating, again, gas furnaces. If a space is heated by gas, we can help out with insulation. Food service equipment is mentioned, and then gas heated pools. We offer pool covers and more efficient gas heaters. I should say we offer rebates for those. Retail is a little tougher when it comes to just using gas, because in a lot of retail spaces, the main users are heating and cooling and lighting. And more often than not, those tend to be more electric, sometimes gas heating, but we do see, particularly out in that area, a lot of electric heating as well. Yeah. So in a retail space, if you have a retail space, think about what you have that might use gas, like a water heater, for example. And next time you're in the market for a water heater, think about Energy Trust. Think about selecting a more efficient option. Partial list of other sectors we cover: hospitals and healthcare, data centers, not so much relevant to this particular call, and then small office buildings where there is gas use as well.
Rob, a question for you on
Yes.
hospital. And I don't know, can you identify specific customers on, if I ask you that question?
It depends. It depends what the question is, I suppose.
Okay, let's
And if
catch up. Yeah. I'm just curious whether our local hospital here is taking advantage of Energy Trust.
that much I don't know. That would not be my sector. That would be above a small business.
Okay.
I don't know. If you know somebody there that is interested, I'd be happy to connect them to. We do have an energy advisor who deals with healthcare
Okay.
specifically, because their needs are very different than small business.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. So our process, there's two different processes for working with Energy Trust. For small businesses, most often, the vast majority of the time, it's going to be what we call our standard incentive process. I'll get into the other process in just a moment. And it's very simple. It's as you might expect a rebate program to be: is you buy the equipment or you buy the product that's going to be that there's a rebate for. You apply for that rebate. You let us know that you've purchased that equipment through an application and a utility bill. And then within a certain amount of time, usually 6 to 8 weeks, you get your rebate check. The important thing to know is we do want you to get us your application materials within 90 days of the installation, not necessarily the purchase, but from the 90 days of the date that equipment is installed. We need you to get us that application. It's pretty simple, very simple actually. But yeah, that's that process. And then we've got our custom incentive process, which is, oh, let me come back to the standard real quickly. I'm sorry. So we've got a certain types of incentives that we call published, right? So that means that they're on our website. We've got them in documentation. If you install a qualifying Energy Star fryer, you know exactly how much you're going to get for that because basically you're installing the required Energy Star fryer will give you X dollars. So you know exactly what you're going to get when you buy certain types of equipment. With a custom process, this again is going to be usually for medium to large businesses. But if they're working with an architect or an engineering firm or just somebody internal who says, we want to do this project, we think it's going to save energy, but Energy Trust doesn't have one of the standard rebates for it, like I just described. Come to us, we'll take a look at your project scope. We'll do a little bit of analysis. If we think there is indeed some potential for energy savings there, we'll do a deeper analysis, and then we'll get back to you with how much energy we think it's going to save and what kind of incentive offer. So that's kind of done on a project by project basis. As long as you've got a scope of work and you have some idea, some sense that it might save energy, we're willing to take a look at that scope of work and let you know if we can help you. So this is just a little bit more description about the project types. Basically, any type of energy saving equipment could be eligible for custom incentives if the energy savings are great enough. This is very important for a custom project. They must be pre-qualified by Energy Trust before you purchase or install the equipment that will be providing a rebate for. So contact us early in that process. And this would be, chances are that a hospital project, Dan, you asked about, would probably fall into this category just because they tend to be larger, more complex projects.
Certainly.
So now I'm just going to get into a couple case studies of folks we have helped, give some examples of what they've done. So you see the Habitat, I heard somebody from Habitat from Humanity was on here. If you've got a restore in the Dalles as well and you use gas equipment, certainly we can help you. So their goal was to keep the space warm in the winter, cool in the summer. So they put in insulation. Again, insulation is a really big one for gas customers. If you've got gas heating, electric AC is fine as long as you've got gas heating, we can help you out with insulation. And there's a lot of opportunity for insulation these days.
Rob, that's on Habitat. It doesn't necessarily have to be a retail for-profit business.
Oh, and thank you for that. I was probably on an earlier slide.
You probably covered it. You probably covered it earlier and I missed it, but no, go ahead.
Yeah, there was a list. Any type of small business we will talk to. There's nothing in the small business category. There's no business type in the small business category that we can't help or that we can at least talk to, I should say. And when I say small business, that does include nonprofits as well. Churches, nonprofits, community organizations, absolutely we can help them. In fact, those tend to be some of the entities with some of the greatest need for funding assistance.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. That's good to know.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Thank you for asking. So Habitat for Humanity put in 17,500 square feet of high efficiency insulation in their roof, which really helps, particularly as our summer's getting hotter, that sun beating down there. A lot of people think of insulation as, trapping the heat inside and keeping the cold out, but the opposite is true as well. You can really help keep the heat out in the summertime, keep that cool air in. So insulation incentives, again, tend to be really popular, and we've got some pretty good ones, again, for gas heat out there. So the project costs $67,000. They got $35,000 for us. The payback to them was in their reduced utility bills, both heating and cooling bills, was 3.5 years. Vilas Market, they put a new hot food holding cabinet in. We got $900. This is again a straight standard rebate. They bought the qualifying hot food holding cabinet, and they knew that they were going to get $900 before they bought it because that's one of our published rebates out there. Payback for this gentleman was about 2 years on that. Crush Wine Bar. Don't know exactly. This was not my slide. Don't know exactly what gas appliances they put in, but they did get my guess with $1,000. This was probably a gas fryer, and then they saved $400 annual utility bill, so that had about a 2.5 year payback on that. And that's really the end of my presentation. Like I said, with small businesses, it's mostly going to be our standard process, and I'm happy to get some more information to somebody about our specific published incentives. They are on the website. We do have a specific space for small businesses on the Energy Trust website. Just always keep in mind, folks out there in the Dalles, that in that area, we can only help you out with rebates for gas equipment. I do know that Wasco, being part of the larger BPA, does offer some kinds of incentives. I don't want to speak, or rebates. I don't want to speak for Heather as to exactly what they are. I know lighting is out there. But if you do have an electric upgrade, I always recommend starting with your local co-op. That's it.
Excellent information, Rob.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, Rob, we do have Heather and Tanya. And Tanya, you've raised your hand. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just was going to let you guys know, and Rob, there's a couple of electrics out here, and since Heather didn't say anything, or there's Northern Wasco County PUD, and most of us on the call will know that they handle the town, and that Wasco Electric, the co-op, is more out in the rural. But I put the PUD's rebate page for commercial in the chat. But one thing that I think sometimes gets confusing for folks if they're not in the energy industry is that there's programs for not only commercial, but there's also residential and industrial. And so anything that's non-cut, non-residential is what Rob's referring to, but there is residential programs too. And that goes for electric and gas. And so, like say Hood River area, ETO covers Hood River and Pacific Powers over there. So those agencies and businesses can kind of double dip, if you will, because ETO covers both of those. So then every area is a little different, but the BPA programs are what are run through, I believe the PUD is, if I'm understanding, and that's where Heather is probably more knowledgeable on that than I am, because they may use that program too.
Let's broaden that discussion a little bit, because Tanya, we do have you on, and Heather from the Wasco Rural perspective. Rob, on screen share on that upper left-hand corner, I'll try to give you the corrected directions this time. I misled you before. There should be, and I can't see it myself while you're screen sharing, so look for the red stop share upper left-hand corner.
Okay.
There you go. That worked.
And I want to thank Tanya for bringing up the fact that we do have other programs as well, residential and agriculture. But typically with agriculture, there's not so much gas savings, but we do have them if you happen to have a gas furnace, say at your farm. And then thank you for pointing out that there's the North Wasco PUD and then Wasco. I'm Portland based. And my territory, the Dalles, is at the outer extreme of my territory out there, and I always get the co-ops out there confused. So I appreciate you doing that.
Go ahead. No, Tanya,
I was just going to say, it doesn't help that we have multiple co-ops, we have multiple PUDs on both sides of the river, and then we also have Pacific Power. So it is a lot, and we have a Vista out here in Goldendale, and then we have Northwest Natural Gas out here on the Oregon side. And then we have the Vista again in Stevenson. So it is a lot, I think, of energy agencies out here. And if you're not in the game with all of them, it's just a lot to keep track of. And I mention that to a lot of people, so don't apologize.
Yeah, and we always make sure if a customer comes to us and we can't help them, we always make sure we try to get them to the resources they're looking for. We don't just hand them off. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are good at that.
Tanya, from your perspective, since you're dealing with not only small retail but the whole universe of natural gas users out there, uh, Energy Trust of Oregon in terms of awareness across industries, what's your experience?
Yeah, well, it's a partnership, I guess you'd say, because anyone who's a customer of of like for our region, Pacific Power and Northwest Natural, pay a portion of their bill that goes to fund Energy Trust of Oregon, and then those funds are to be allocated accordingly for either savings for energy in the power sector or the gas sector. And so I think this has been going on for over 26 years.
Yeah.
Is that right, Rob?
Yeah.
Because when I started with the gas company in, a long time ago, almost 30 years ago, ETO was non-existent, and Northwest Natural ran their own programs in-house. And so then the Oregon legislation, I believe, is how that all came about, started the program. And so then that's how this process began. So it's just evolved and gotten larger. I think the hardest part for our rural area is the focus on getting the word out. I try really hard to let everybody know, but it is more challenging, I think, in the regions that are rural, where it's divided up by there's a non-participating or a publicly owned electric company. So like the PUD or the co-ops where the customers own it, because then it gets more diluted, all the different programs. And that's where I think sometimes versus like Hood River, where there's Pacific Power and natural gas, you tend to have more attention, or PGE and natural gas in the larger regions. So that's just my personal experience. It's just harder to get the information out because there's less people to spread the word and less customers.
Heather, you put a link to commercial rebates from Wasco Rural in there. Thank you. Additional information from your perspective, Heather, on this topic. And you are muted. There you go.
Sorry. Yeah, so I agree with Tanya about how it's hard to get our information about what rebates we have out because it is so small. I personally don't do a lot with the rebate side. We have a third-party group, efficiency services group, that handles all of our rebates. So yeah, but I know that we do have a lot of rebates available, both commercial and residential.
So Rob, in terms of getting the word out, a couple of ideas come to mind. Are you acquainted with the Small Business Development Center at Columbia Gorge Community College? Greg Price is the director there. So I'm going to put you in touch, and I would ask if you have a brief written summary of, especially focus on small businesses, anything having to do with that you could send to me. I happen to be putting their newsletter out tomorrow, and it reaches about 4,000 people. So let's get some information out that way, and also the chambers of commerce.
Yeah.
Yeah, working directly with them through their newsletters and things.
I am not. No. This is the beginning of doing all of that.
This is a great introduction then to that. So Lynn Cox is the new director of the Dalles Area Chamber, and then her counterpart in Hood River. And I don't know if anybody on the call can help me out on this one because I don't know that contact now. Tanya, you are muted. Looks like you are.
Yeah, it doesn't help to talk when you mute yourself. Yeah, hang on. I do have her name. I just got to look it up because my memory doesn't work at all anymore.
Mine doesn't either.
It's Katie. I'll try. I'll look for it and see you put it in the chat.
Okay, we'll do a little bit of informal networking here, Rob, to get this out.
Yeah.
And Rob, one point, and this is a really stupid question, but I'm asking anyway. This is Oregon Trust Energy Trust of Oregon. You don't serve customers in Washington State by any chance, do you?
Just Southwest Washington, so the greater Vancouver area, all the way out to White Salmon.
You
Um,
do. Oh,
Only Northwest Natural serves those customers. Yeah. So
oh,
so
okay.
no electric in Washington at all, but just in the southwest corner, kind of just right across the river, where Northwest Natural also serves a big chunk of the population over there. We offer rebates for those folks as well.
As far as white salmon, how about Dallasport if there is natural gas? Tonya, do you serve over in Dallasport?
We have gas in the yeah, in the industrial lands. We don't have it in the town or as far out to the airport, but we're right over there by the port. I guess you call it Port of Klickitat.
Okay, not to the airport yet, though.
No, we have a lot of aired up pipe at the airport that they've put in hopes that we could extend it over there. I'd love that with all those hangars that are using propane.
Oh, oh, Jake, do you have anything to add on this point? Jacob Anderson?
Yeah, definitely we should be in touch on the hangars and some of the upgrades going on at the airport.
Yeah, we've gotten into the ground. It's the distance between the hangars and where we are over on 197. That's the challenge. Yeah.
I do believe there's some discussion about taking the power lines underground, and it'd be a great dig once opportunity.
Yes, I have heard that. Please keep me in the loop on that. As I said, I've almost been here 30 years, and I have been working on getting it into that region pretty much the entire time I have worked here. So that would be a great swan song before I retire if we ever did that.
If anybody can help make that happen, it's going to be Jake Anderson. All right, that's good to know.
Well, and I was just going to ask Rob, there is gas at Stevenson through Vista, so you guys would cover them as well for commercial if anyone on the call had some connections over there, which is Skamania County, correct? Okay.
I'm not as familiar with what I assume you're correct. Yeah.
Okay. But I do know Washington's a little bit tweakier about how all of the connections work with the ETO. But I know with us, definitely you cover all of our customers.
Yeah, it's the Vista one I'm not so sure about, but Northwest Natural, Southwest Washington, 100%. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, contact point down there, Representative Greg Waters. Jake, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he is Economic Development, Skamania County as well.
Yeah, Representative Waters is the EDC head as well, and I can help get you anybody in touch with him.
Okay.
And it's
Good.
Kevin Waters, not Greg Waters.
Oh, crap. I knew that was wrong. Thank you, Jake. I'm glad he's not on this call. I would be mortally embarrassed right now. I'm gonna get Greg. I don't know. Not enough coffee. Rob, fascinating information here. Other questions for Rob? We want to get this program out. I've got another one. And Rob, again, it's not a small business, but maybe we can make a connection elsewhere. Columbia Gorge Community College, not the Dalles campus, but Hood River campus, I believe has natural gas. And we want to be certain. I think they're doing some renovations there. Tanya, do you know whether they're doing anything with Energy Trust or with natural gas as opposed to with their current renovations there?
You know, once a customer has a gas meter, I'm kind of out of the loop. I help people get to that point of getting the gas meter and getting the new infrastructure, but after they have it, I'm kind of
Okay.
disconnected, so I don't know. But if I ever hear about things and people ask, one of my contacts, and Rob probably knows Karen out of Pendleton, she's always, because I never quite know who's on what base with ETO. There's a lot of movement often, and in specialties, and like Rob is in specialty of the commercial. They all have specialties. So Karen always helps me focus on who, but I'd love to have all your contact, Rob, because I would be happy to share that when I hear things. Send
Sure.
people your direction.
Did you catch it from the slide, or would you like me to put it in the chat again? I'll put it in the chat again anyways.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Do you remember Karen's last name?
Appler.
Yes.
Okay, no.
And it's Karen with a Caryn.
I worked with someone else, and I'm still trying to find that name as we've had this meeting. That's bugging me. I thought she was out of Bend. But anyway, good. Other questions, other information we haven't covered here? We're a little bit early here. We've still got a good 20 minutes on this call.
Dan, you mentioned with Columbia Gorge Community College, the Hood River campus, we do have another, as Tanya mentioned, specialist who works with higher education, and he's pretty plugged into all the larger community college systems in the state. They know when they do big projects, they all know about Energy Trust because they've got staff who are, management and planning and do projects over and over again. So they're pretty plugged into us, and they know if they've got a project where we could help them, they'll contact us. That's
Okay,
true for a lot of large hospitals as well. Like we're pretty good about getting those larger customers that tend to do ongoing projects over several years.
good.
Small businesses that are always a little trickier.
Yeah, I think the SBDC and the chambers are going to be really key in terms of reaching that market. The ownerships change, businesses start up, and it's a shifting field all the time. So that's going to be kind of a constant source of contact in outreach.
And
No, go ahead, Rob.
I just put my contact information in the chat. I just want to point out my name, Rob Hall, and then at Waypoint Energy as opposed to Energy Trust. So Energy Trust uses contractors. So we are for-profit companies that contract with Energy Trust to deliver the programs. There's Energy Trust corporate, and plenty of folks work there, but don't be thrown by my email address domain that it doesn't say Energy Trust. I do work for Energy Trust. Like I said, we're just a contractor, and that's how they run most of their programs.
Okay, that's where I was confused earlier. Waypoint. I thought that was a separate.
Yeah, no, it can be confusing. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you, Tanya, thank you very much. Tamara Tipple is the director of Mount Adams Chamber of Commerce. And Rob, if I'll email you contact points for Greg and for Lynn Cox, the chamber director here in the Dalles.
Okay, that would be great.
And I added the Hood River one if you see it in there. Katie Cadlow.
Yes, I did see that one. Thank you.
I see it up there.
Yeah, it says visit Hood River. That's the director there.
We have a person who just does Southwest Washington, so I'll get that information about bingen and white salmon over to her. She may already know Tamara for tomorrow.
I'm going to do a screen capture of those while I'm thinking about it here, and I'll get that to you, Rob, as well, for my own benefit too. Good information, good networking. We're taking kind of a different turn this morning in terms of some informal networking, but hey, that's part of the idea here. I'm always tempted to give people back times of their morning after a productive conversation. I think we're having a productive conversation. Is there anything that we need to cover that we have not covered? Because if not, we're okay giving people back 20 minutes of their day. Rob, I do want to do some follow-up with you after this meeting, and I really want to get some information, a summary, something like that we can put in that newsletter, because that's going to be immediate outreach going out tomorrow, and it goes out monthly, so we can make an important plug here, I think.
Sure.
All right. With that, hey, we'll wrap up early. It's been good. Rob, this will be recorded. It has been recorded. It goes on the chamber website as well under community affairs. And I'm also going to reach out to the newspaper and remind them that this was on here. So sometimes a reporter will listen in and do a story on it.
Yeah, and if you've got any kind of project and even if it's a residential or agriculture and you can always start with me. I always make sure to get you to the right person at Energy Trust that can work with you. So we all work together. So
Great. And Tanya and Jacob, you'll be keeping in touch regarding reaching the airport. Love to see that happen. All right, everyone. I'm going to give you back I can't do subtraction this early in the morning. It's something like 18 minutes. I don't know of your time. See you next week, next Thursday. Our guest is Liz Lance, QLife Quality Network. That is the publicly owned fiber optic provider in the Dalles and Wasco County. And Liz is the executive director. She will be giving us all of the updates on broadband, publicly owned broadband, what's happening in Wasco County of the Dalles next Thursday. And we'll be in August already. Crazy. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.
nice to meet everyone. Thank you, Dan.